So, who likes card games? So yeah, after the success of the first game on the PS2, Square Enix decided to release the game that was a direct follow-up to the original on the Game Boy Advance, instead of the PS2. And because of this, most people thought the game was the spin-off, and this is a problem that only got worse as the series went on, but we'll get to that later. And people thought that it had absolutely nothing to do with the storyline of the series, so most people just jumped from Kingdom Hearts 1 to 2 without knowing what happens in this game is canon, and is needed to fully understand what happens in Kingdom Hearts 2. And I was one of those people. It wasn't until the game got remade for the PS2 back in 2008 that I actually went back and played it. Which is the version I'm going to be playing because it's the version that's included in the 1.5 plus 2.5 collection. I'm going to be doing this video a little bit differently than I usually do. Usually I flip back and forth between gameplay and the story, but starting with this section of the series, it becomes way more story heavy, and it'll just be easier just to get the story out of the way first and talk more about the gameplay in the later segments, okay? Okay, cool. The game opens up with a clip show of events from the first game, which is very ironic considering what we're gonna see in this game. I like to mention in my last video, a good friend of mine pointed out to me about how this song is about Sora and Kairo's relationship and how it's a love song, and you know, she took it pretty well. She only called me an idiot like 7 times. And just kidding, 6.5, and a boot to the head.
And another for Jenny and the Wind.
The story takes place immediately after Kingdom Hearts 1, with Sora, Donald, and Goofy taking a rest for the night after chasing Pluto, who had a letter from the king on him, who apparently never stopped running, and is who knows where, because we don't see him again for a while, so... And Sora and the gang are lured into a mysterious castle, and for some reason all come to the conclusion that Riku and the king must be there, and they're told by the mysterious cloaked man that the castle is called Castle Oblivion, and that upon entering the castle they've lost all of the abilities they learned from the first game. And the further they continue into the castle, the more memories they lose, because...
In this place to find is to lose, and to lose is to find. That is the way in Castle Oblivion.
He then gives Sora a card that he crafted from his memory and tells him that if he uses the card on the door, he can progress through the castle. He then disappears in a dark portal, and I'm assuming Sora also lost his common sense when he entered the castle, and he begins his journey up Castle Oblivion. He then holds the card up to the door and ends up in Traverse Town. So, because the cards are made from Sora's memories, just about all the worlds you'll be visiting are all from Kingdom Hearts 1, with the exception of the Tarzan world. I believe there's problems with the licensing or something like that, I'm not really sure. A weird thing about this is that they all remember everything that happened in Traverse Town and the people, and because of how strong his memory is of them, they all remember him too. But it never happens again throughout the entire game. It's like after this, Sora, they all lost all their memories of all the Disney worlds like immediately after Traverse Town. It's weird, it's never happened again, and it's kind of missed potential in the story, I'd say. Not that it really matters because the Disney worlds have even less significance to the plot. They're either an abridged version of their Kingdom Hearts story, which is already an abridged version of the Disney movie they're based on, or they attempt to tie into the main story by having something to do with memory. But they don't really add anything, just come off as padding. Meanwhile, in the actual story, it's revealed the man in the black cloak is a man named Marluxia, a pink-haired man who wields a scythe, and he is apparently part of a very mysterious organization of beings who apparently don't have hearts. We meet several members, including Larxene, a lightning and knife-wielding sadist, Axel, a fire user with chakrams, Vexen, who's just a big icy nerd with a shield. They're planning on using Sora to attempt to take over the organization by forcing a girl named Naminé to help. She has the ability to manipulate memories, and is the reason why Sora and the gang have all been losing their memories. As they continue their journey, she begins to place herself in his memories, basically taking Kairi out of his memory in an attempt to replace her. She even changes Kairi's good luck charm. And after learning she's being held hostage, Sora gets really mad, which is kind of weird to see this almost always happy-go-lucky kid get genuinely mad. It's kind of unsettling, honestly. It's really weird. It's like, you know, like that one guy that you know, who's always, you know, super happy and stuff. Then, like, there's one day he shows up and he's just kind of sad and stuff, and you're just kind of like, what's the matter? Are you okay? Do you need a cookie? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? It's understandable. He's being manipulated, have his memories messed up, being taunted by the members of the organization. I'd be probably pretty mad and confused too, honestly. And after encountering Vexen, he gives Sora a card that's from a memory on the other side of his heart. And upon entering the world called Twilight Town, Sora claims that he's somehow been here, except not having any memory of the place whatsoever. And after defeating the Vexen, he attempts to tell them the organization's plan before being straight up murdered by Axel.
No! Please don't! I don't want to!
Goodbye.
Rated E for everyone.
And when Donald and Goofy thinking it's odd that Sora only remembered Naminé after coming to the castle, and when Goofy is the voice of reason, you know that something's very wrong. He gets mad and storms off and finds himself back on Destiny Island, where he runs into Naminé, who was released by Axel, who was apparently a double agent for the organization. And after dispatching Larxene, which, kind of side note for that, in the game, you know, you beat her and she just kind of like disappears in like a cloud of smoke, kind of. But in the manga, what happens is they do like a super move where Sora shoots Blizzard, Donald melts it, and turns into water, electrocuting her to death. You know, for kids. Naminé comes clean about everything, and apologizes with Sora saying this.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be. Please don't cry.
Oh. Of course. I know I really don't have the right to.
That's not what I meant.
What?
It's like this. I'm really not happy about you messing with my memories. But, you know, I can't really get mad at you for it either. These memories you gave me. In my head, I know they're lies. But they still feel right. Like the promise I made. I said I would protect you and that I wouldn't make you cry. Not ever. Naminé, if you cry now, I'll feel guilty, like I let you down. So don't cry. Please. Until I get my memories back, smile and try to be happy. It's easier on me that way. There! That's it! That's the Naminé I remember.
Aw, it's actually kind of sweet. I mean, it's kind of dumb because they weren't real. Memories weren't real, you know. But whatever. It's sweet. I like it. It's sweet. I like it. And it says you can fix their memories if they go to the top floor. And after one last fight with Axel and seemingly destroying him, and with him out of the way, the only one left is Marluxia. And after defeating him, Sora has a choice to either lose his memories of the castle and Naminé and get his old memories back, or lose old memories and keep the ones about Naminé. He chooses to get his old memories back, and in order to get them all back, they have to sleep in these capsules for a year until she can properly restore their memories. But so they can remember to thank Naminé for restoring their memories, they write in Jiminy's journal to thank her. I don't know why they just don't write the whole entire story of what happened in the castle, because I mean, you can just get some pen and a paper and just like write a bunch of stuff, or hey, just like post something on the wall so when Sora wakes up and he's like, oh yeah, that's right, I'll thank her later. That's pretty interesting, wow. And as Sora drifts off to sleep, he sees an image of his closest friends like Kairi, Leon, Sid, Yuffie, and Titus, and Waka, and Selphie, who we don't see again, like, ever. Like, Selphie pops up for like half a second in Kingdom Hearts 2, and that's it. Nobody else. They don't matter. Why are they here? Why would you do this? That makes no sense. But that's not the end, cause when you beat the game as Sora, you unlock a new campaign where you can play as Riku. And this takes place before, during, and after Sora's campaign. His story begins with him in this mysterious, foggy place. I don't know where it is. Maybe the realm of darkness. I honestly don't know. But a mysterious voice calls out to him, and a card appears in front of him, and the voice offers him a choice: stay here and sleep, or escape. So he takes the card and is transported to the bottom floor of Castle Oblivion, where he runs into Ansem! He's apparently the remnants of Ansem's power that still exists within Riku, and when he tempts Riku again with the power of darkness, but Riku ain't having it. And basically his whole entire journey through this game begins with him resisting the power of darkness, and the reason that he's traveling through all those worlds is to attempt to vanquish the darkness within him, but as he goes through his journey, he slowly starts to accept darkness as part of him and starts to rely on him more and more. And after traveling to the castle, defeating a couple more organization members, he finally reunites with King Mickey and finds the source of Mysterious Voice, who apparently doesn't know how to wear a belt. He just puts it on his face and on his eye. I don't know, it's weird. He then runs into Namine, who says that she can seal the darkness in him to protect him from Ansem, but he give up his own memory of the darkness, but he refuses it, saying that it'll beat him, and he says the Namine reminds him of Kairi, but he says it in a very weird way.
I knew when I met you. You and Kairi smell the same.
Now, I'm not the foremost of talking to them lady folks, but I'm just gonna assume that they don't like being compared by smells. Riku talks a lot about smells in this game. I think what they're going for is him being able to sense other beings that use darkness, but since they keep using the word smell, it comes off as Riku being that random guy in the back of the bus who says your hair smells nice. And with the help of Diz, Riku defeats the remnants of Ansem within him, and him and Mickey decide to go on a journey to discover more about this mysterious organization, and the game ends with the clip of a mysterious blonde boy walking around Twilight Town. More on that in the next video. The story here is basically just set up for Kingdom Hearts 2, introduces us to the organization, some of its members, with the only interesting characters being Axel and Larxene. Everybody else is just kind of boring. I'd even mention Loxias or Zexion, so that just shows how much of the impact they made on me. You never really know why Marluxia wants to take over the organization, and Vexen is a scientist. And that's it. You don't really learn anything about the organization here. It's they're here and they're mysterious and they don't have hearts. Even though they still show emotion, more on that in later games. It's not until 2 we actually learn anything besides that. And the story's kind of repetitive here. How most cutscenes play, they exit a world, they talk about something, and they go up to the next floor, and then they talk about what just happened on the previous floor. It doesn't happen on every single floor, but it might as well.
Good answer. Just what I'd expect from the Keyblade Master. But be forewarned. When your sleeping memories awaken, you may no longer be who you are now.
What's wrong, Jiminy?
Well, you see, what Axel said back there worries me. What could he have meant by, you may no longer be who you are?
I may no longer be me. How can I be anyone else?
Of course. Still, you can't be too careful.
The best way to describe the story is that it's a middle chapter. It's basically the prologue to Kingdom Hearts 2. It's also kind of an excuse to get Sora back to level 1 again, without his abilities and stuff. And it works, kind of, but I wish they hadn't put it on the Game Boy Advanced. I don't know why they did that when most of the audience was on the PS2. And as I said before, that'll get worse with time. And with the story out of the way, let's get into the gameplay. Now, at a first glance, it kind of looks similar to the first game, but there's a catch. Because if you draw your attention to the bottom of the screen, you may notice a bunch of cards on the bottom. Yep, because cards aren't only used for accessing new worlds, they're also what make the combat. So it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh, but a tad more aggressive. Basically, the game plays like this. Each attack you use uses a card, and the cards are given a number anywhere from 0 to 9. But if an enemy plays a card that's higher than the one you play, that card breaks and it cancels your attack, and vice versa. But a 0 card can break any card, but it can also be broken just as easily. And you have several different kinds of cards. Keyblade cards, which are basic attack cards. magic cards, which include all spells from the original game, along with summons, enemy card, which give you special abilities like increased attack, increased range for certain attacks, friend cards, which randomly spawn in battle that allow you to summon one of your allies to help, like Donald, who uses magic to attack and uses fire on fire enemies. Why would you do? Item cards that restore cards to your deck without having to reload them, because the more times you reload your deck, the longer it takes for cards to come back. You can customize your deck, and you get more cards by opening chests, trading Moogle points at the store, hitting objects in the overworld, and as long as you have the right amount of card points, which you can increase by leveling up, you can also learn abilities called slates. Slates are special abilities that you can use in combat. These include attacks from the first game and a bunch of brand new abilities. Slates can be used by selecting and storing up to 3 cards, and most slates have certain conditions for you to use them, such as them all being different Keyblade cards, being within a certain numerical value, or letting you use like 3 of the same spell cards to use a stronger version of that spell. But you don't rely on them too much, because when you use a slate, you lose the first card that was in the slate for the rest of the battle. The only way to get it back is to use the item card. Now, this may sound complicated, but it's really not, because you can pretty easily exploit the combat system here, because basically in order for an enemy to attack you, it needs to play a card. But if you keep playing high cards using slates, they can't do anything to you whatsoever. And this includes normal enemies and bosses. There's a slate called Lethal Frame, and once you unlock it, you've practically beaten the game already. It freezes enemies in place and takes out nearly 1.5 bars of health.
That's a lot of damage!
On most bosses. Or if you want, you can put a bunch of high number cards in your deck and just spam those. There's also the Jafar card that when used, enemies can't break your cards whatsoever, and combine that with Lethal Frame, you're basically unstoppable.
Grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba, but it does contain the unstoppable
Jafar card.
Ah! Impossible! I've assembled all 5 special cards.
And because it's pretty easy to exploit the gameplay, it gets pretty repetitive, which isn't helped by the world's level design. I use quotation marks on level design because there really isn't any in this game. When you beat a group of enemies, they drop a card, and use that card to progress through the worlds. You go up to a door, and it shows you a number of what a card needs to be above, below, equal to, or what color it needs to be. That's where grinding comes in. Some doors need super specific cards to use, or you need a bunch of cards to open up a door. Like the one door that was just before the final boss, I used every single card that I had to open that door. And what card you use changes what the room looks like, and how enemies behave in it. For some examples, you make cards stronger in combat, make enemy cards weaker in combat, you can make a save point, or a mural still appear, and it changes how the rooms look, so the whole game is just going from room to room, fighting enemies, then fight the boss, leave the world, and then go to the next world, rinse and repeat. There's no puzzles, there's no platforming challenges, or anything. It's even worse when you play as Riku, because at least with Sora there's some story cutscenes in there, but with Riku, you go, fight the boss, and then leave. That's it. It's only about 4 hours long, so it's not that bad, but it just got so boring after like a while. It's just so boring at a point I just kept making the rooms, treasure chest rooms, or Moogle stores, or save points, just to skip to the end, because it just got so dull and repetitive after like a couple hours. Speaking of Riku's campaign, he plays just a bit different from Sora. He has a fixed deck that has changed whenever he enters a new world. He can also reload his cards instantly, and he can use any enemy card that he picks up through the whole game. He only has attack cards and an occasional item card, so the only way of healing himself is by using King Mickey cards that spawn at complete random, which is the only reason why the final boss is so difficult for Riku. He also has an ability called D-Mode. After he breaks through enough enemy cards, he harnesses the power of the Darkness. And his attack increases, and he can do some really powerful slates, which he can't do in his normal form. Something that was added to the remake is a card duel system, in which you play the same cards to your enemy, in which if you break enough of their cards, you can perform a stupidly powerful slate attack on them, which can be easily exploited. Once again, this game has a bunch of interesting ideas. I like the card system and everything, and that stuff like that. That's interesting. D-Mode, it's a cool thing to do. Slates, that's pretty interesting. It makes you formulate how to do your cards and stuff like that. But it's a system that needed more work done on it. the way it is now, it's so easy to exploit like everything. I use lethal frame like 153 times. That's ridiculous. And that's just how ridiculously good that move is. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you want the game to be harder, don't do that. I get that, but why would I purposely nerf myself just to enjoy a game more? That just seems kind of stupid. Now, I don't think this is a bad game. Spoiler alert for these videos, I don't really think any of them are bad, the Kingdom Hearts games. It's just that this game definitely needed more work done on it. It definitely needed more thought out card system. It definitely needed the story to be fleshed out a little bit more. But all in all, it's an alright game. Although you can't really go into this one, like if you haven't played the first game, which is kind of weird because it's a retread of the first game, but you need to play the first game to understand it. It's really kind of a weird situation. But that means we're going to only go uphill from here. So join me next time as we take a look into one of my absolute favorite games ever made, Kingdom Hearts 2. Hey, thanks for watching. Well, so what did you think about Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories? Do you think it was a good game? It was a bad game? You know, just let me know in the comments, like let you know what I think, because I'm always interested in hearing people's opinions about this kind of stuff, and not everybody has the same opinion as me, so, you know, if you have something you think you want to say, leave in the comments below and let me know. Yep, the next video will be Kingdom Hearts 2. Don't really know when that'll be coming around. Might be a little bit, but you know, I'm still working on stuff. And hey, if you want to see more stuff, why not subscribe? And I got a couple more reviews. I got from the first Kingdom Hearts, a couple other games, and I have a series where a couple friends of mine and me play through Dark Souls, and our Dark Souls Prepare Not to Die edition. I got some more stuff I got to edit for that, so hopefully some more stuff should be coming up soon. But in the meantime, have a good one.